What are three major tips that new investors could really look for to help minimize long vacancy rates when they're going to be purchasing a commercial asset?
Yeah, so it's actually a little bit of a misconception that commercial has high vacancy rates. People just generally handpick a couple little retail properties that they've seen that sat there vacant for a year or two and then tarnish every single commercial with it. Okay. It's much like in the residential space. Like, I don't say don't buy in Adelaide because some mining towns went down in South Australia. You're not comparing apples and apples. Like a main street retail is not the same as one street back, for instance. But just to give you some numbers, like at the moment, Sydney's vacancy rates for industrial are 2.2, Melbourne's 2.8, Brisbane's 3.2, just as tight as most residential properties.
Yeah, okay.
The reason it feels like more, though, is because you get it in one go. So as opposed to having a rental property that you might have a vacancy every 2 weeks of the year, you're going to have maybe a tenant for 5, 10, 15 years, but then you're going to have 6 months vacancy. So you feel it a lot more once it actually does happen. So you do have to have those buffers in place for when the tenant does leave.
Right. So if you've got a tenant that's sticking around for 1 year at a time in a resi like in a resi property, and it's vacant for 1 month at a time, and over a 10-year period, you've actually got 10 months of vacancy. Whereas you're looking at it
That's
as
right.
If you've got a lease that goes for potentially, I mean, even though you could have a 5 + 5, you could have that whole 10 years, then yes, you might be vacant for almost a year, but really it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah, exactly right. And different commercials are going to have different risk profiles. Like if you buy in a...
If you want to listen to the rest of that interview, simply subscribe to the Pizza and Property Podcast on Google Play, iTunes, or Spotify, anywhere you can find us. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel below, and have an amazing week.